Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back to the Agostinho Zinga show with me, your host, Agostinho Zinga. This is episode number 149. Uno, cuatro, nueve. How the hell are you guys doing? What's going on? Good morning. It's Monday. It's Monday morning. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Even if it's Monday afternoon, if you listen to it now, or if it's Monday evening, or if it's Tuesday morning, Tuesday evening, whatever, we go on and on with the days. How you doing? How you feeling? Great. Good to know. Myself, I'm awesome. I'm feeling good as per usual because it's Monday. It's my favorite day of the week. A chance to wipe the slate clean, start over again on a new leaf, take one step at a time towards our goals or towards our ever impending doom. Either way, it's a new day. How you doing? Feeling nice, feeling amazing. Today's quite weird in the morning. It's a bit sunny, which it really shouldn't be, but it's also very cold, so don't get fooled by the light that's outside. Wrap up warm before you go to work and whatever else you're doing. Ensure that you're well hydrated, well moisturized, or dare I say lubricated. I watched a little video the other day of Little Yachty doing this corny cringy thing where he buried his AirPods because he got some Louis Vuitton AirPods and he looked ashy as fuck. Maybe that was part of the sketch, right? But he does look like a kind of guy that probably doesn't moisturize as much as he should have. But that aside, hope you guys are well, hope you guys are feeling fine. I am feeling amazing. I've had a pretty laid back weekend, mostly due to my own inability to kind of keep awake, and mostly due to my inability to to control the amount of alcohol that I consume. These last couple of weeks have been pretty quiet on the whole going out front and doing all that malarkey. But then Thursday, I kind of came back from work, weird, in a bit of a weird funk. Like I wasn't really in a funk, but I was kind of in a funk, right? And something that I don't actually usually do. It's not something that I kind of prescribe or sometimes I think it's a good idea to do. I decided to go outside and go out for a drink, right? And when you're feeling in a funk and you go for a drink and you're on your own, it doesn't end well, right? You end up just like, drinking after drinking, talking to strangers at a pub. You sit there contemplating loads of shit. Your mind starts racing. And then little do you know it, it's 11 p.m. and you're fast asleep in bed. And then I spent most of that day or most of that Friday in bed. Then I had to get up late on Friday, then I got up late on Friday. Oh no, then I had to go to work. Sorry, I had to go to work late on Friday. Then when I came back home, got changed and went back out to DJ on the Friday at Tap East. And then from the Friday, as soon as I got back home again on that Friday morning, I slept. I kind of stayed up to watch a bit of what did I watch. I watched ML, I watched something. And I kind of carried on until Saturday, and then I kind of had a Saturday all foggy and a bit blurry-eyed. And then Sunday again, I spent up most of my time at home. And what I realized, number one, is that if you have any kind of problem, you should not prescribe yourself alcohol as a remedy. It doesn't work. I think I was aware of that before I tried to do that. And after I did start drinking, I thought, you know what, this isn't a good idea. Sometimes when you're sober, you don't be left with your own thoughts, right? Because you start to fill in gaps with things that don't actually make sense, or you start to over dramatize things, right? Things aren't usually that serious, but you try in your head. It's always life or death. It's always that black. It's always, oh my god, if I don't do this, this ain't gonna work. Blah, 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 blah. You're always kind of thinking in extremes, right? Most of us in our head. That's why usually people don't like to sit alone with their thoughts, which probably goes back to why people don't really like to meditate, right? Even though we all know meditation is good for you, I think for the most part, people don't want to be left alone with their own thoughts because they're not comfortable having them, right? They don't want them to occupy their brain because they know what their thoughts are gonna say to them. So you'd rather, distract yourself with social media, talking to your friends, listen to music, watching shit, like anything but your own thoughts. And I understand why. I definitely have sympathy for it. But I think in the long run, overall, because, for instance, like, number one, my pocket's lighter. Number two, my head is still throbbing from Thursday's drinking escapades. And number three, it's just not sustainable, right? You just can't keep doing that. You can't just keep going. And for me, anyway, it was a one-off, right? Something I haven't done ever, if anything, I think in my life, like ever gone to a bar in terms of contemplating my life decisions. But sometimes it's good just to kind of like bro out a bit or man out a bit and kind of go to a bar and just like drown your sorrows in alcohol sometimes. But for me, it's a one-off and something I'm not looking to replicate or to do again. But just as a word of warning for anyone who is trying to contemplate that, don't. You're far better off meditating on your own thoughts, maybe speaking to friends if you have them, speaking to family if they're around, and going through that way in terms of, or just meeting up people to just take your mind off things is probably even sometimes a better thing, right? Sometimes speaking about things again and again and again, over and over again for hours on end, sometimes does no good, right? You just in a weird way you kind of get into a loop of gaining satisfaction through just complaining. Sometimes you just can put that thought to one side, deal with it when it needs to be dealt with, and kind of move on from there. So I spent most of my Friday and Saturday recovering from basically from a hangover, which then meant I didn't drink at all the entire weekend, apart from that Friday apart from that Thursday when I went out locally to a bar, which made the Friday Tapis event, DJing wise, a little bit difficult to do. Number one, because it was a quiet night, because, as per usual, as I mentioned, I think a couple podcasts ago, there was that study that came out that said, year in, year out, bars are suffering more because of dry January, right? So dry January comes around. I think it was, first of all, started off as a charity organization to encourage people to not drink as much, because obviously, as people in the UK, we love a bit of alcohol. So in order to kind of, get people into the let's get into the way of abstaining from alcohol for just 1 month, especially in January, where people are already committing to New Year's resolutions. Telling people to commit to a dry January where they would abstain from alcohol for 31 days is kind of a good way to kind of get people back on an even keel. You're hoping so, right? Because it's not like a crash diet. It's not like you're doing 2 weeks of just eating soup, and then by the third week you're chomping at a bit to eat anything that doesn't contain soup in it, right? And you end up putting the pounds back on again. I think 31 days, roughly 4 weeks and a half, is probably a lot. It's probably enough time to kind of start a habit. And I think that's what that book, I forgot what the book says, Building Habits. So it's got a little a hamster wheel on the front cover. I forgot what the book is called, but there was a book similar to that. But I remember reading there's something similar where, if you do something for a continued, I forgot the number of days it is. That's I think after 21 days it becomes like a habit. If you do it day in, day out after 21 days. So I think 31 days is probably a good enough time for you to kind of say, you know what, even if I was drinking 7 pints a day before the January the 1st, just doing that 31 days of abstaining will probably put me down to about 5 or 4, right? In general, not me, but talking for somebody else. So because of that, most bars suffer and they kind of dip in terms of the traffic in the bar. No one's coming in drinking, no one's coming in, everyone wants to be on their best behavior. So the bar's usually quite quiet. So for me, being a DJ, January is usually the quietest time in terms of DJing wise. There's still some psychos that like to go out in January and rave and shit. But for the most part, everyone's not a lot of DJs are getting bookings. Not a lot of people are playing out. Not a lot of people are hiring DJs. So it's kind of a bit of a quiet time. So to DJ in a quiet bar hungover probably isn't the best thing. I find that quite difficult, but I kind of soldiered through it. I made sure I had the volume quite low. I didn't want to disturb anyone. I was playing loads of prog rock. I played loads of R&B. Just kept the vibe very, very mellow for the most part. Signed out, got my hot wings on the way home, and then went to sleep basically as soon as I went back home. So that kind of leveled out the evening. Friday, Saturday, I had aspirations of going out. I went to actually go to the Glove That Fits in Homerton. There's a nice little club there. I went to go there after my set on Friday, but that didn't happen. On Saturday, I also went to go see I think Bruce back to back with Courtesy at Mixed Garage, but I think that was was that Friday or was that Saturday? I think it might have been Friday. That didn't happen again. So loads of events I went to end up doing that I didn't end up doing because, again, I was hungover, which again goes to show, isn't it? It's just so debilitating. You don't end up doing jack shit. You end up just sitting at home. I didn't go for a run. I didn't do any of that shit. So all that stuff I wanted to do, I didn't do because of the alcohol. Again, which goes to say, for me anyway, which is why I tried to commit to having 5 days in the week, especially Monday to Friday, where I don't really have any alcohol at home. That's why I had to go to a pub on a Thursday. Well, I don't have any alcohol in my house, right? So I just commit to 5 days of sobriety, and then the weekends, if I want to go crazy, I can. Or sometimes I'll start from Sunday till Thursday, so then on Friday when I go and DJ, I can have a little drink or something to kind of get me into the zone. But for the most part, drinking just takes it out of you. You're not productive during the week. You don't want to do nothing. You're just lazy. It's a bit of a fool's errand, really, especially for me coming from the DJ side of it, because already most weekends I'm already out, right? I'm always out most weekends, or let's say from Friday I'm always out. I'm always DJing, and I've always got the possibility to get free drinks from the bar. So for me, the whole alcohol thing doesn't have the allure that it did in the past. And also just from coming from promoting side of it, just from coming from going out a lot and having friends that work in bars, the allure of like free drinks doesn't really capture me anymore. You remember before when like, you know, you go to an event or an event will be promoted, be like, oh, there's free drinks there, and you'd want to run, right? I guess that probably is kind to do with your age right at the time. When I was like 21, 22, you're coming into the scene, you went to make a mark, you went to hang out, you want to be cool, right? Maybe when someone does a free drinks event, it maybe tugs at your heartstrings or your purse a bit more because you probably have 10 quid to your name. So, you know, drinking free Red Stripe or whatever promo beer they have is probably the best thing you're going to do that whole week. So that's probably a good thing. And you get to meet up all your friends and stuff. So that's quite cool. But I think now the older I am, the more disposable income that I have, the more ability ability I have to drink for free, drink for cheap, or whatever it may be, it kind of like takes the sheen out of it. And even when I do go out to drink, which is kind of funny, when I do go out to have a drink, I'll just go to Wetherspoons. I won't even bother going to a cool hipster place, for instance, which kind of is a bit funny in itself as well, because, you know, I'm the first to point fingers and look at people that sit at Wetherspoons drinking from 5 till 5, thinking they're losers, and there's me, you know, drinking, of course, not from 5, but, you know, from 8 or 9 p.m. But yeah, so that was basically my weekend, and then I also spent most of the weekend watching football, of course. You know, Man United beat Arsenal in the FA Cup, which is a stupendous result. 3-1 at the Emirates. We're now through to the 5th round of the FA Cup. The game was a lot easier than I expected it to be. I thought Arsenal would put up a much better fight than they did in the end. It didn't really, they didn't really bring anything to the table per se in terms of sustained attack, in terms of threats coming all over the pitch. For the most part, I think their best player was probably Alex Iwobi, and he was a little bit unproductive. He's weird, Alex Iwobi. He kind of is. He's not as unpredictable as like a Wilfred Zaha, but he doesn't really have an end product, right? He kind of just runs down. He kind of reminds me of like a young Valencia. He just runs towards a byline, looks kind of threatening. At least with Iwobi, he kind of attacks players. Valencia doesn't, right? Valencia likes to cut back, stop, cut back, stop, cut back. Iwobi just kind of runs at the bar line and doesn't do anything when he gets there, which is kind of interesting in that regard. But yeah, no real threat in that regard. Lacazette had a few opportunities, and he looked quite threatening when he got the ball in the box. He was fighting back quite a lot, putting a bit of a shift in that regard. Aubameyang was pretty quiet, and all over the pitch they didn't really offer that much of a threat. Of course, most of their defense was decimated throughout the game. You know, 2 defensive substitutions had to come through injury, but I thought by and large we kind of controlled the game really well. We counter-attacked really well, and yeah, it was just a really strong performance, and another performance that goes to show that kind of, you know, puts more credit points in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's bank in terms of is he going to get the full-time job. Whether or not he gets it is another question. I'm still on the fence about it. I'm still in the mind. My mind is telling me that with all the turmoil we've gone through since Alex Ferguson retired, right? We went through Moyes, we went through Van Gaal, went through Mourinho, managers on paper who are pretty solid. Even Moyes, even though I wasn't a big fan of his, and I still think he's a bit of a charlatan. On paper, prior to him coming to United, he was quite highly rated as a manager, right? He consistently got Everton finishing in the top 6, top 10. Season out with a much lower budget than someone like a Marco Silva has now, managing Everton. Of course, Louis van Gaal was rated one of the best coaches in the world at that time too. He came up with quite an impressive is it Euro run with the Holland, with a quite limited squad. He came off with that, and he managed us, and that didn't go too well. And of course, Mourinho was he's probably still rated as one of the best managers in the world, and that didn't work out either. I think we've kind of seen what happens when we go for managers just on CV alone. We don't really have any direction at the top in terms of what they're going to do. So my heart is telling me, or my mind tells me, that we probably should go for Pochettino, just because he's been able to he's proved consistently with quite limited resources that he's been able to kind of improve the players that he's got at the club, right, at Tottenham. In terms of Mohamed Sissoko, look at someone like him. He's kind of improved them tenfold since with the player we saw at Newcastle. He's also bought really good players in terms of Son and made them into kind of world beaters, players in that kind of ilk. And you'd hope that with more resources and a better platform that he could eventually do the same thing with United, right? But there is a part of me that looks at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and sees a player or sees a manager that gets what we're about finally, right? I don't think any of those previous managers did, right? Moyes was probably underprepared. The Joe was probably too big for him at the time. Lou Van Gaal came in with his own philosophy that didn't really work out at the time. and Mourinho didn't want to adjust, right? He probably just wanted to come and just stamp the way he wanted to play on the team, and it didn't want to adjust. He kind of didn't really rate the defense. He kind of didn't really trust the attack that much, and we didn't really develop over time with him. So you're seeing someone someone like gets the club, he's able to improve the players that he's got, and he's playing this style of football or brand of football that brings the best out of our club, right? We were all, I think I even believed at the time when Mourinho said that our defense wasn't that good. I believe that, we had to just concentrate. Our defense wasn't that good at the time, so we had to concentrate all our efforts in terms of getting a centre back. Since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's coming, I've not heard anyone talk about our need for a centre back anymore. Yes, we still probably need a centre back alongside either a Bailly or a Lindelof, right? An experienced kind of centre back in the mold of someone like a Virgil van Dijk that can lead that back line. But overall, the talk of centre backs has kind of dimmed a little bit, and what we've seen now is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer concentrating on our strengths, which is our forward line, right? That forward line of Rashford, Martial, Lingard, with Pogba, Herrera, and Matic behind. That's what's gonna win us games. Our defense is pretty solid for the most part. It's not the best, but what's really gonna win us games, or help us kind of punish teams, is our front line. And you've seen Ole Gunnar Solskjaer invents everything into that, which has been great to see. So that was a great win. I was happy with the victory overall. I think we controlled the game for the most part. The goal at the end for Martial just kind of finished it icing on the cake. One thing that was interesting was seeing Peter Cech, right? Peter Cech has kind of announced his retirement at the end of the season. But it's interesting to see, like, he's probably, consistently probably one of the best keepers in the Premier League. And it's just so weird to see how quickly he's declined, his levels, right? He went from being one of the best goalkeepers in the league to now being pretty subpar. And this comparison to like someone like a Sergio Romero, who is probably the league's maybe best second keeper, I think, of all the second keepers you got out there. And considering he doesn't play that often, he played pretty well, pulled off a couple of great saves. Petr Cech, you probably could say, was at fault for both goals, right? Lingard's goal, he probably could have saved. Maybe he was a bit wrong-footed by Lingard's touch and control straight away. He kind of maybe caught him off guard with a side foot pass, but he probably should be saving that. Martial's finish, he parried Pogba's pass directly into Martial's path. It was kind of interesting to see how shit he looked, basically, effectively, which was quite interesting to see. And the Ramsey thing, I don't get either. He played pretty well for the most part. He was driving a lot throughout the whole team, and now he's leaving on a free. It's just a strange club, Arsenal. But the strangest thing about Arsenal, the thing that's most interesting, that makes me really laugh, is whenever they lose, one of my most revered and interesting things I love to do when Arsenal lose is to watch AFTV, formerly known as Arsenal Fan TV. It's where Robbie, the host of the show and the co-founder of the show, goes outside the stadium, wherever they are, home or away, and interviews elated or disappointed fans outside the stadium and gets their thoughts, right, on the matches that's happened. It's a trend that's been, building up year in, year out for maybe the last 5 or so years. These fan channels are popping up all over the place. For the most part, they probably are the worst representation of football fans that exists, right? Because for the most part, the fans that got on there are the kind of TalkSport call-in fans that are all knee-jerk. It's either they're the best team in the world or they're the worst team in the world. It's either sack the manager or get rid of all the players. There's no real reasoned, rational, kind of level-headed opinions on the fan channels because for the most part, that kind of content doesn't really work well on YouTube, right? On YouTube, you need to have those big, bombastic, loud, shouty voices. That's why most of these fan channels you see, the thumbnails would be of some guy doing like those fucking exaggerated facial expressions, right? That's all they do. Because that's what gets fans' attention, right? That kind of really knee-jerky, reactionary, devoid of any kind of reasoned thought opinion. But Arsenal Fan TV has a special brand because for the most part, Arsenal fans have always been a little bit deluded, right? I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure because it was the Invincible season that kind of ruined them. But for the most part, Arsenal fans have always been a little bit Marmitey, right? The ones that you like. The ones that you hate are just like, they're unbearable with how much shit they talk, right? And there's a whole host of these characters on Arsenal Fan TV. But the number one, the one that kind of really puts the icing on the cake is DT. He's an interesting case in point, right? Because he's a fan that you kind of don't really... It's something I've always wondered. Like, I kind of wonder whether or not DT actually wants Arsenal to win stuff. Because some of his best content, some of his most viral pieces of interview clips that are shared across social media is of him complaining when Arsenal lose. When they win, it's not necessarily that entertaining from DT. He doesn't necessarily drop any kind of interesting observations or anything. It's all kind of, a bit over. It's a bit surface level. But when they lose, it's Gazidis this, the owners that, blah blah this, Wenger this. Still talking about Wenger. It's just crazy opinions, and none more so than this weekend when Man United comprehensively beat Arsenal 3-1, right, away from home, playing fast counter-attacking football. And this DT guy, right, sat there with Robbie outside the stadium, asking him questions about, what he thought the game was like, how it went, his impression, blah, 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 blah. And he said the following thing that really made me laugh and really made me kind of think, is this guy on crack or what? Now, let's play a clip of DT's observation. Let's get the sound up on here. Up it plays here. Let's zoom in a bit. Let's pause it. This is a little video I found on Twitter. I'm going to get this up there. Oh, here we go. Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Let's see. Here it says it. Look, the volume a tiny bit there. Let's get it up on here. Boom. So this is DT talking to Robbie outside of the stadium.
What I'm saying is, in that game today, what did Manchester United do that actually cut us apart where you could go, yes.
So, in DT's wisdom, right, and this is kind of what goes back to, people say, you don't go to the stadium, you don't watch the game, yeah. Sometimes I wonder about people that go to games, right, and are fast and are kind of like hold that as like a badge of honor. This guy was in the stadium watching this match play, and he watched this match, unfold. And in his ultimate wisdom, he kind of deduced that Man United didn't really do that much to hurt them. When you win by 3-1, isn't that an example of hurting a team? We did nothing to cut them apart when each of our goals were direct repetitions of cut them apart. The first goal, where Lukaku fakes to shoot and slips it into Sanchez in the box and rounds the keeper and he chips it over. That is a definition of cutting someone through. The second goal, which is a counter-attack, one ball through over the top. Lukaku running onto it, cuts it into passes it into the box. Lingard, one touch with the left and the right foot finish, bottom corner. The third goal, Alexander Lacazette, back pass, falls to the wrong person. Pogba picks it up, cuts through the entire midfield, runs, 40 yards towards the box, hits it from outside the area, bounces in front of Peter Cech, he parries it out. Martial smashes it bottom corner. Those are all definitions of us cutting them through. But in his ultimate defense, we're not cutting them through. And the video continues. I'll play a bit more of it now.
Sanchez
there we
is
go.
onside in a round check. And he's moved.
All three goals were definitions of cutting them apart. Definitions of cutting them apart. But in some way, this guy thinks we didn't. And it's just, I don't know.
Message for Arsenal.
Again, I'm not sure. I just, it's just general thinking. I'm just not sure if these guys actually want their team to win anyway. I think part of the reason why they go to these fan channel things is to kind of have a moan, right? That's what they want to do. They want to have a bitch and a moan. Because even when you walk out stadiums, and you hear some of the, even sit in the stadiums and you hear some of the opinions you hear in the stands, it's just insane. Considering you're both watching the same thing, it kind of really it makes you appreciate just how different of an opinion we all have on things. Because with when you watch stuff on TV, it's it's TV, different interpretations, blah 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 blah. But when you're in a stadium and you're sitting next to somebody that's like berating a player, and you're like, I don't know what the fuck you're watching. This guy's been playing pretty good. You're like, oh, okay. We all just got various different opinions. Some people are a bit more emotional than others. Some people just use football as a way to kind of get all their pent out aggression out, right? Some people do jiu-jitsu. Some people box. Some people play five-a-side football. Some people go and watch football games just to kind of get that kind of the week out of them. But regardless, Arsenal Fan TV is a gift that keeps on giving. Arsenal fans are, by and large, one of maybe second to Liverpool fans as probably the worst opinionated fans that exist. I think by and large, if you ask opinions about what they think of the team, and DT's probably the worst offender of that whole group, I think, for the most part. Yeah, delusions of grandeur, but I do not care because it's not my team. Anyway, moving on up. What else do we have here? Oh, let's talk about fashion. So, Menswear Fashion Week, Paris Fashion Week men's is wrapped up. All the Fashion Week is kind of done. Couture season kind of put a little dot at the end of it, which was quite great to see. Nice shows from Valentino and the like, couture wise, which made Celine Dion cry, which is kind of the rage now in fashion, right? People going to shows and crying because it's emotional. Bit wanky, but I get it. I understand when you care about something and you're seeing the best representation of something that you really care about walking down the runway. It's amazing, but it's a bit ODT for me. But there were some collections that I thought were pretty interesting to talk about that I kind of highlighted in the first couple of videos or first kind of podcasts before, but I wanted to kind of build on some of those now and kind of like highlight some of the ones that I thought were really impressive and were really interesting to me for what's kind of currently going on in terms of interpretations of what's happening on the street, what's happening in society, blah 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 blah. These are my opinions on what I thought were some of the best collections I saw in this season of Fashion Week, right? So, number one collection that I have here is from my favorite brand, Vetements, right? It's probably not the coolest thing to say nowadays, right? That your favorite brand is Vetements, because I think for all the fashion hipsters out there, Vetements kind of fallen out of favor. People kind of bemoan the yesteryears when Vetements was much cooler, when Vetements ironically looked a lot more like Margiela in the first couple of seasons, and people were complaining that it looked too much like Margiela, and now it's kind of moved into its own little it's kind of got its own aesthetic completely now, which kind of looks the way it does look, oversized everything, proportions skewed, frayed edges, logos everywhere, really simple fabrics, clever interpretations of hoodies stitched inside out, exaggerated logos, no cuffs, with cuffs, stuff put together, copied and pasted. It's kind of got its own DNA. It's got its own design codes that kind of come from the lineage of Margiela, but I've kind of they've kind of found their own lane. And it's kind of funny to now see people kind of bemoaning that it doesn't look like how it looked like before, which was more of a copy. But hey ho Saloy. I've always been a fan of Vetements just because of how it came out of the gates. No one knew who designed it. It was kind of said that it was designed under a collective who were former proteges of the school of Margiela. Then it transpired that Demna was the kind of head honcho. He had this rat pack of friends that were primarily from the Eastern Bloc of Europe, who again weren't represented that much again in fashion, apart from the stuff that Gosha Rubczynski was doing. They kind of elevated that kind of streetwear aesthetic and took it to the nth degree. Exaggerated bomber jackets, frayed edges on bottom of jeans, cut and pasted hoodies, loads of interesting pieces that have now been adopted by loads of other brands all under the sun. And now we've kind of got this factory in terms of Vetements has been able to kind of churn out interesting takes on streetwear in terms of the conventional street fashion, let's say, right? It's interesting accounts you might see on Instagram where they kind of feature interesting looks of people walking around the street that look really cool. They've been able to somehow take those kind of inspiration, those kind of mood boards, and put it on the runway. Now, is it sophisticated? Probably not. Is it really refined? Probably not. Is it the best example of what quote unquote fashion is? Probably not. But in terms of just stuff that you can wear, stuff that you can interpret into your wardrobe, stuff that kind of looks really interesting and plays on interesting themes, I think Vetements is probably my favorite and the best out there at the moment. None more so than the fall winter collection, which was inspired by dark web, the dark web, right? So big up all my toy users out there. I liked most of it for the most part. I'm interested to see some of the shoes like this featured in this look, which are meant to be sort of like high, which are meant to be like plimsolls but sock length. I haven't necessarily seen what they look like fully. I'm not seeing a picture of them before, but someone I heard mention it in a review that's what they actually look like. So they look pretty cool. Some good little pieces like this little clutch here in a hand that sort of looks like a Bible. I'm not sure if it is one. A great little anarchist t-shirt with the A upside down, and just again for me interesting looks. I think overall I'm just a fan of what they do with the looks in terms of just very European, very Eastern European centric aesthetic. Jumpers tucked into sweatshirts, weird proportioned suits, which they're kind of famous for. Loads of great women's wear pieces, loads of great pieces in terms of down jackets and all that sort of malarkey. Nice knits. I really like this hoodie with the camel on the front. Just this look overall, something you can easily interpret into your own wardrobe, right? White camo trousers, the white camo hoodie. This is a great, for anyone that's been a fan of Darknet, you'd know what that message was on the front. That's the message that they put on the front of AFTV, RIP, one of my favorite Darknet marketplaces that's now been seized. So when a website gets seized by the FBI or by the what are they called, Interpol, they usually put this message on the front of it, similar to what they will do to a pirate bay or whatever. They'll say that, you know, the message, that website's been seized, you can no longer use it. So that's an interesting thing to put on the front of a hoodie for those interested in that kind of thing. Again, loads of nice little logo motifs, flips on kind of logos that we're very familiar with on the front of hoodies and jeans. Great proportions once again. I'm not, what's the hat here on the top here? This looks really cool. I didn't see that. Again, loads of just cool pieces, I think, overall. I like the show. I thought it looked really interesting. We've got actually here an Interpol jacket, which is proper cool. I like the take on these down jackets, which I think are flipped upside down. It looks like it, right? It looks like it kind of, oh no, if not flipped upside down, it looks like they might have taken a hood and kind of cut it, and or technically, you know, cut the hood and sort of like wrapped it around the jacket in a weird sense of way. It looks really, really interesting. I like the look of that. Because the outwear piece is also something I'm really interested with, because I've actually got a Vetements jacket that's inspired by Canada Goose coat that came prior to the Canada Goose collaboration, which I wear literally every single day, and I think that's one of my favorite pieces. And again, just interesting take on contemporary fashion, like this hoodie here, which is, you know, purposely shrunk but fits really well, like cropped hoodie. I like the face mask. The dresses are always really popular with all the fashionista girls out there. Again, the down jackets that kind of have an exaggerated neck hole. Great Reebok collaboration sneakers here that we've got here that I think I mentioned in another previous video. They look very interesting. Again, nice bombers. Great jeans here with the pockets on the side with stuff tucked into them and ornaments on the side. You got here the plimsoll, sort of like high top boots. I think they're high tops, I'm pretty sure they are, but they're similar to the speed runners, but instead of being thicker normal like trainer sole, they've got more of a, like a plimsoll sole, or maybe a sole similar to like a five finger shoe that you might see. A nice Interpol bag as well here that I'm a big fan of. The floral shirt, the floral dresses are quite interesting because I'm surprised more performers don't wear them. Maybe we don't have a David Bowie nowadays, that kind of you know, performer, or a Prince that's really kind of all about, like, you know, that the performance of it, the characters, the interpretation of fashion, the androgynous of it. But I'm surprised no one's actually taken a dress from Vetements and kind of just worn it at a rap show, right? I think there's something really cool and something really, I don't know, something really strong about being able to wear such a obscenely feminine floral dress on a dude who look pretty cool on the stage, I think, overall. But maybe no one's too brave to do that sort of thing at the moment. But I'm really interested in someone that would do it. Great pieces again. The casting's always really good nowadays as well with Vetements. They really up the ante on this. This is a great little jacket. I'm assuming what that logo is there. Is that, and again, oh, the upside down anarchist logo with the V on the front. So loads of like dark web themes running through on this collection overall. Great looks. We've got a real contender for, you know, Nirvana look of the season here. Corporate craziness still suck a lot, right? Yeah. Got dyed hair on the model here, big hooped earrings with the quintessential grunge cardigan, some light blue jeans, some big boots. The boots, I'm not sure if they're a collaboration. They look very cool though. Loads of buckles on it. Remind me again of what's the shoe I saw a girl wearing in the pub the other day. Is it Alexander Wang? Remember those boots from Alexander Wang that are popular, that I think Aldo have copied a million times with all the buckles all over them? Well, Vetements have done a similar sort of thing with those kind of boots with straps on the front, straps on the side, maybe similar to more of the grungy kind of boots that you might see nowadays. I know Comme des Garçons have done a similar sort of thing with their Jordan, which I'm going to mention in a few bits you see later. But that looks really cool. Again, more grunge looks with loads of flannels. I love this. Again, we've got this massive fur coat, which they've been doing a few seasons now. That looks really cool. What else do you have here? Nice suiting. Nice, again, nice pink fur top with the great hoodie on the inside here. Again, just cool, interesting pieces from Vetements overall. Now, is it all forward thinking? Probably not. But all these kind of codes, all these kind of motifs, all these kind of trends that they kind of incorporating here are gonna get co-opted by other brands, which kind of is again maybe a marker of just how much influence they have on fashion at the moment. Maybe the collection itself overall isn't your favorite, but elements in this collection are gonna be, you're gonna see them in other people's brands from season in season out. They're just always kind of the front runner. They're able to kind of interpret look so much quicker. And this again is a, you know, this is a kind of, I'd wear the fuck out of this look. This is look number 47. He's got a hat that looks similar to the hat from Punisher. Watching it actually on Netflix, it looks really, that's fucking cool. Second season, check that out. But similar to the Punisher, so like a ballpoint snapback hat with a skull painted on the top, a hoodie that says he survived swine flu, so now I'm vegan, inside of a white shirt with white camo pants that look like they've been patched up with some jeans, or they've been sewn together with jeans with the big boots. They just look, it's an incredible look overall. Really, really, really nice look. Again, we've got some great plays on hoodies. They've been able to do really interesting things with hoodies. This looks like a dress. Essentially, it's a dress with the bottom of the hoodie kind of sewn on the bottom and cut, so it kind of makes a skirt, which is, again, an interesting twist on what you'd find in streetwear, and something that you kind of hope more brands will do in streetwear nowadays, right? Not to elevate stuff, just to come in another offering, right? You've seen brands do nicer materials and hoodies and stuff. Again, this hoodie is really nice. I survived swine flu and now I'm vegan. So now I'm vegan, I think it's going to be really popular. You kind of want them to kind of, instead of just having like really nice fabrics and getting their things done by a Canadian sweatshirt manufacturer, I want them to kind of just, you know, distort the shapes a little bit, move them around. Maybe Supreme is probably the only big brand out there that kind of makes their own blanks, right, in terms of how they want them to be cut and stuff. And season out, especially depending on autumn and spring, they're all kind of different fabric, different kind of thickness. But you'd want more brands to kind of do similar to a Vetements, maybe kind of, you know, as this kind of dress hoodie thing is kind of made out of, like, you know, just cut things up about, twist them, put them back in together again. I think it'll look quite interesting. Again, nice Interpol shirt here connected to the bottom. You got an exaggerated shirt, elongated, two shirts put together with the you know, neck hole at the bottom next to his penis, and the dude's got the little what's that sign everyone does with the finger? It's a troll sign on the internet, isn't it now? Forgot where it's from again, but yeah, cool pieces again. And then the peste de resistance are these weird, it's a great look. I'd wear the fuck out of that look. Well, these weird kind of like, I'm not sure if they're not hijabs obviously, but they're kind of these masks that go over the top of the face that kind of cover them, and you can kind of use your smartphone underneath them. I'm not sure it's a commentary on social media. I'm not sure if it's a commentary on people walking around their phones like zombies, but I love that play. Again, I thought it was interesting fashion. I thought it was an interesting collection. I love loads of bits in it, and I'd wear the fuck out of several of these looks, of course, such as this raincoat here. This looks really nice. Great collection overall from Vetements, one of my favorites there. What was next that I liked? Martine Rose. So Martine Rose is from the school of Vetements. She supposedly used to consult with Balenciaga. I think the last season was the season just gone. Was the last season? I think she tried to connect with or consult with Vetements with Balenciaga and Demna and that crew. So I'm assuming she probably did some stuff with Vetements on the side too, which kind of makes sense considering some of the collection that she's done over the past couple seasons. They've kind of really come into their own. Has a real point of view, but has the same maybe kind of aesthetic. The kind of ugly, but it's weird. It looks ugly, but you can kind of see the beauty in it, especially when it comes to the menswear. I really, really like, especially the menswear, because that's the only thing that she designs for. But for the most part, I'm a big fan of Martine Rose. I think she does some very interesting things, and I think season out, you've kind of seen the popularity grow and grow, mainly due maybe to the collaborations, and a couple of celebrities have worn some of her pieces. But I just think there's some interesting codes that might get again interpreted into other collections going forward. These shoes are just ridiculous, right? They're purposely look like the kind of like dad Sunday school, or I don't know, not Sunday school, but you know, church shoes that have been purposely kind of elongated in the front, which remind me again of a Comme des Garçons home show from a few seasons back, where they kind of had I think cowboy boots with the toes really kind of pointed up and squirting back to yourself, which looked really cool. Again, loads of real plays on proportion. These sort of jeans that look like they're high-waisted but not. This jacket that is kind of exaggerated on the shoulder but kind of cuts in again on the inside. This looks fucking awesome, which kind of remind you a little bit of the Balenciaga jean jacket from a few seasons back that was kind of cut together and sewn up again into different pieces. Again, a great play on a double-breasted jacket where it kind of swings around the entire front, sort of like a scarf blanket thing. Great jeans there. I love the kind of dye on the jeans. Again, a real play on proportions, even the way the model's standing with the feet kind of pointing one way and the shirt the other way. Great materials. You can see really how she really plays with the looks and proportion. It looks fucking cool. I think Martin Rose would be great for a set designer or a costume designer for a TV series that was kind of based in this kind of whatever this world is, 80s 90s kind of hybrid of a world. I think she'd be an amazing costume designer if she hasn't done that thing before. Again, I'm really interested to see if the proportions kind of get seeped into other collections coming forward. Nice trousers, great outerwear. Really interesting play on a denim shirt that's kind of been elongated by the most part. It looks great. Tracksuit shirt. This is like just pure Eastern European fodder. You can kind of really see where the inspiration from some of the Balenciaga and Vetements comes from when Martin Rose is collaborating and consulting with these brands. It looks fucking awesome. I liked a lot of these looks that came up in it. Some of the outwear pieces are really great. And some looks you could easily interpret into your wardrobe. Hey presto. So you got that one. What else we have on to show you? Next question that I really liked was Celine. Celine, under the tutelage of Hedi Slimane. You might be familiar with that name because he was the former creative director at Saint Laurent before he announced his exit. Took a bit of a break, and then he was announced he was going to take over from Phoebe Philo at Celine. He was going to launch the first menswear collection, and in general just revamp the house and make sure they make money. Because as great as a designer Phoebe Philo was, it didn't seem that she was willing to kind of venture into the e-commerce world. They never really got into selling any pieces online for the most part. I think maybe towards the last 3 or 4 seasons they started to offer a few of their collections available online, or you could at least look at the looks and kind of see how much stuff was and call for availability and things, but you couldn't exactly shop directly online, which was always a bit disappointing because some of Phoebe Philo, or all of Phoebe Philo's collections were very sought after. People wanted to get their hands on it, but not everyone had the access or the ability to go to stores at Stock Celine or to go to their own boutiques. So now Hedi Slimane's been kind of tasked with the role of making sure he's been able to bring Celine into the modern world, or bring it into the 21st century by having an online store, having a menswear collection. And for the most part, everyone was quite excited. Then the first collection came around and everyone kind of got bummed out because I think people had the wrong impression that somehow Hedi Slimane was suddenly going to change what he does and was going to suddenly interpret or carry on the codes, the aesthetic that Phoebe Philo left behind with his collection. Never going to happen. Whenever they hire a new designer for these houses, they all gonna go through the same sort of process, right? They hire a new creative director. The creative director deletes all the social media that might exist for the company. They change the logo. They have new photographers for their campaigns. They have new models that they have for their campaigns. They completely change it and kind of use the opportunity to kind of display their own creativity, to kind of give their own vision of what that house looks like, as opposed to carrying on the traditions of the previous designer. If anything, what they might do is carry on the codes left behind the original founder of the company, but they're not necessarily going to take on what the person before them done, because again, what is the point if you get hired for that kind of role, even if it's for a short period of time, even if you get kicked out after a year, you want to at least leave behind your own legacy and not have a legacy that kind of looks like what have someone else already done. So Hedi Slimane's always going to Hedi Slimane. People just need to understand that. And for me personally, even though the first collection was maybe a bit disappointing, I kind of gave him a bit of room to kind of grow. First collection, you kind of have to hit a bit of a softball, and then your second collection kind of ramps it up a little bit, little by little. And for me personally, I was a fan of it. I liked a lot of the looks. I thought he did a very interesting play on, I don't know, this 70s, 80s teddy boy, Carnaby Street, wandering dude. He's probably still infatuated with a guy that probably doesn't exist, I don't think, for the most part. You might see a couple of these people hanging around Carnaby Street, walking around with their Winkleman Chelsea boot things, or whatever they're called, from Underground, But that guy doesn't really exist that much anymore. I don't see them around. I'm not sure if other people do, but I just Hedy Slimane seems infatuated by this vision of this indie dude. And for that guy that is out there that likes that kind of look, who is in a band, who does art, who's a photographer, whoever it might be, a hairdresser, you're gonna fucking love everything that's in here. And I think there must be a bit of vanity that's included in the idea of owning a suit that looks like this, right? A double-breasted suit that has a Celine tag on the inside. There's something really sexy about it. I'm not sure what it is. So I think just for that main part, people are going to get it overall. The reintroduction of a skinny tie, again, harkens back to the early 2000s era of indie when people were wearing skinny ties with white shirts tucked in, which kind of goes back to Hedy Slimane's Dior Homme kind of days when that was sort of like the uniform of choice for the Killers and the Strokes and those kind of guys coming up. But overall, I liked a lot of the collection, man. Loads of nice overcoats, loads of really interesting plays of proportion, cropped trousers, not as high-waisted as stuff we might have seen from Martin Rose in the previous slides that I showed you. But again, loads of nice little hints of tailoring that he's kind of imbued in this collection. Loads of nice color palettes, not as much color as you'd hope, but you know, it's Hedy Slimane, he's not going to really whack you over the head with loads of color prints. Great little jackets, like this moto jacket is going to be supremely popular. You can see in the store that knit is going to be popular, the trousers are going to be really popular, shoes are going to be popular, I'm sure. Overall, great jackets, herringbone. This outfit is insanely great, right? You've kind of got this kind of priestly church collar, which looks similar to. There's a guy on Punisher now at the moment. He's sort of like the preacher dude, and he looks similar to this kind of look overall. The Chelsea boots, just look how great they look. Like fuck off, like look how nice they look. They look amazingly great. Just a really really nice collection. I think overall, another nice jacket, cheetah print coat, and again a nice leather jacket with. It looks like. It's not yet. Just contrast stitching on the ribbing looks so great. The Chelsea boots I haven't seen up close and personal, but again, he invented a white boot for Saint Laurent. That's still selling through now at the moment. So if you can somehow bring in a cowboy boot-esque thing into Celine that kind of sells through, he's already won, right? Without even doing him that much. And then when you add in all the handbags that are going to be just the next collection, that's going to be a win again. You're kind of seeing a little bit of the coat that was existed for Saint Laurent included in this Celine collection. I think it was a Teddy jacket, right? From Saint Laurent that's kind of come back with Celine here for Hedy. You got these sort of like creeper brogues that are. Who is the guy that used to go with Kate Moss? He loves these. The former founder, I think, of Wonderland magazine. You love those kind of shoes. I'm sure he's going to be very fan of them. Again, nice overcoats. This look looks incredible. All leather. Maybe right on trend of what's happening at the moment with the whole 90s Matrix sort of feel. This jacket just looks incredible. The outfit looks really fucking good. I think that would look great on most people that want to wear it. It's a great menswear look. Again, stuff that you're easily going to see. You're easily going to see someone like a Zara taking this and just kind of like, breaking it down and introducing it into a collection. And that, I think, is a real mark of success. I think for all the slack you might get from fashion critics or for people in the industry, I think Hedy Slimane is really talented at interpreting what the masses want. I think in the beginning it was quite, it maybe was quite cutting edge. It really did he really did put his flag in a pole of what he thought masculinity was. But I think now, as kind of the world's kind of catch up and everyone is sort of wearing this whole skinny look everywhere, and whatever that look is kind of the common look that you kind of see around the streets of London, especially if you go into the city centre. But I think he's still being able to kind of dictate what the modern man wants in their wardrobe, right? You want to look fashionable without looking too fashionable, and this is exactly right in line with it. Like something like this with this kind of quintessential army surplus jacket with some quilted on the inside, a nice suit there, nice skinny tie, scarf, white shoes and some loafers. You're set. Do you know what I mean? Like you're set. All the looks here look great. I think most men on the high street would want to wear this sort of look, right? Whether or not he's aiming for that guy or not is something else, but I think this is way, way above what that guy that took over from Hedy Slimane at Saint Laurent, I think Anthony Vaccarelli, the stuff he's doing there is not as great as this at all. He's been able to kind of, Vaccarelli's kind of like tried to copy that Saint Laurent mode, and it hasn't really worked out that well, but this is far and above anything you might see at Saint Laurent at the moment. This is really fucking good. And like I said, there is some sort of vanity attached to the idea of having a navy trench coat, right? A navy overcoat made by Hedy Slimane under the Celine house. Like there's something about having that tag on the inside of your jacket that's gonna look fucking insane. I love every single bit of this look. Some of the leather jackets for me are really impressed. I love the leather trousers. I'm sure they're going to be really popular when they come online. The leather jackets look really cool. Nice little details on the trousers again that I'm a big fan of. And again, the skinny tie, I'm not sure if that's going to come back in. I wouldn't mind wearing a skinny tie again personally. I'm not against it, but whether or not the modern man is going to be open or welcoming to kind of wearing that kind of thing is something that's going to be left for interpretation. Let's see if that happens, but it'll be interesting to see if that happens, if that kind of makes us come back again. You start seeing guys walking around wearing suits. I'm not opposed to it personally. I think it looks fucking awesome. And again, it's just a kind of a different silhouette than what we're seeing from most designers on Paris Fashion Week. It's mostly big boxy looks with that are kind of tailored, that are kind of cropped, that are kind of cut. But this is more in the mode of like really skinny dudes, mostly white, which people have a problem with. But again, don't really care. But I love it. I fucking love it. I think it looks amazing personally. These boots just look great. This whole outfit with a jacket in front and the suit and the scarf on the inside looks amazing. Yeah, so that was one of my favorites personally. I really like the Celine collection. This second round, or second time around, this jacket was fucking awesome by Hedi Semaine, and I recommend you check that out too. I'm sure we're gonna see what these looks in fucking Zara anyway at the end of the season, so that'll be a real mark of success for Hedi's there. I'm sure he's successful anyway, regardless of that. But what else did I like? Oh, Dior Home was really nice. I thought that was great. Kim Jones for Dior Home was great. The first collection, again, I wasn't a fan of, but I think for the most part, most collections from fashion designers, when they go into a new house, I think the first collection is always a little bit of a softball approach, right? There was loads of bomber looks in it that I kind of thought were a little bit samey. It didn't really strike me with any sort of inspiration. Obviously, the main centerpiece, that was a Cause statue on the middle of the runway, looked a little bit dated. Cause is not necessarily the most relevant artist out at the moment, but again, just the Cause thing was a little bit tired, but I get it because Kim Jones is a true streetwear historian. He's kind of been around since the whole Gimme 5 days, so he has a real personal connection with Cause, so that was kind of great. Maybe see Cause given that platform again on a big stage in terms of the whole fashion crowd who are a bit fickle and kind of forget you after a few seasons. So that was great, maybe to see him give that and pat on the back. But overall, as a fan, I wasn't necessarily a fan of it. But I think the second collection just hit at the park in a level that is not even worth even talking about, really, for the most part. From the styling to the details, everything was just insane. All the models were on some kind of like moving platform, similar to something that you see when you go to an elevator, sometimes you go to an airport, or maybe on the production line, right? These perfect examples of masculinity, right? These great looks with silks and satins, with these kind of scarves that are kind of tucked into the inside of the jackets, that kind of wrapped around, which kind of look like weird kind of Roman garbs. Sort of like garb things. Look amazing. Great buckle details again from Matthew Williams, from Alix, that look great. These incredible sensual sort of looks with these massive long leather gloves. Just really, really, really great look. It reminded me of, like, the heydays of Riccardo Tisci and Givenchy, when he kind of had a really precise image of what masculinity looked like to him. This is what masculinity looks like to Kim Jones. Just looked amazing. Amazing. Like some of the models, the way they stood, some stood like side on at an angle, some stood straight up like came from a production line. It just looked, it's so much attitude in this fucking collection. It's just insane how good it was. Like some of the styling details are just really clever. Like the way scarves is tucked into the inside of the arm, like these weird little like ankle protector kind of thing that wrap around the bottom of the trousers. I'm not sure if they're part of the trousers or go over the shoe. It's just fucking cool. Like everything about it, the materials look really nice. The whole idea of the scarf tucked into the inside looks incredible. Just really clever bits and pieces here. And again, Kim Jones is, he's been in the industry for eons, has worked underneath various different houses with various different designers. He kind of knows what to do, but this is just incredible, especially from the first season. Like I said, the first season was a little bit underwhelming, but this just knocks it out of the park tenfold. Absolutely amazing. Knits, scarves, belt details, the accessories, the makeup, the hair, everything looks incredible. Just really cool. I love all of it. Love it. Kim Jones for Dior Home looked incredible. Loads of nice sort of side-by details, contemporary, no, I wouldn't say streetwear, like accessory stuff, but done in a really elevated way. I'm not sure what these materials are, if it's satin, if it's silk, whatever it is, it looks luscious. You just want to put that on right away. It looks incredible. Some interesting pieces here, right, with a kind of satin on the inside. It sort of looks like a suit jacket that's kind of like flipped inside out, but then, you know, constructed the right way around again. Looks incredible. A nice little detail there. Just, again, really clever little pieces all over the whole collection. Really nice. Great accessories as per usual. Dior Homme for Kim Jones. Kim Jones for Dior Homme was really impressive, I thought, for the most part. What else did I like here? Jack Moose was good as well. Jack Moose. First collection again, a bit underwhelming for the most part. Debut menswear wasn't that great. This second round, the second round was much better from Jack Moose. Again, pulling inspiration from his French heritage, working in a farm. Probably one of the best designers at doing that, right? He has a very defined. He has a very particular inspiration pool that he kind of draws from, and everything is about France. Everything is about where he grew up in the fat south of France, his family, people that he knew in his village. It's all from that aesthetic. It's never from anywhere else, and that's something that I've really found interesting for someone like him, right? He could easily speak to the city girl in Paris or wherever it may be, but he always kind of is talking to this particular kind of woman, particular kind of man from the area that he grew up in and the family he's around. So that, again, it kind of limits his kind of inspiration pool, but he's somehow been able, such a talented designer, he can pull from different aspects, from different places, and kind of imbue it and make it into his own sort of vision, which looks fucking incredible. Again, this was a little bit more of an easier approach because it was a more workwear inspired, but you know, I think it was great because I think these pieces will easily sell in most places and most stores. Guys love wearing this sort of stuff. Loads of workwear inspired pieces, loads of fisherman-y type jackets overall, and stuff that even if it was Carhartt, you'd buy in a heartbeat. Really great piece overall. I think he looked amazing. I think he did a really good job on this one. Jack and Moose menswear, collection number 2, I think, for the most part. Great styling pieces again with the scarves. Great presentation. I think the guys were unloading stuff on the back of a truck and stuff. This model here in the middle has been all over the place, right? Is the kind of, you know, standout of Paris Fashion Week this season, I think, for the most part. I'm not sure what his name is, but he kind of did a good job. He's the one that was dancing for the Virgil at Louis Vuitton collection. Yeah, great collection by Jack Moose. I thought it was really cool. One of my favorites, and there is the man himself at the end. One of my favorites this season. What else did I like? Oh, Comme des Garçons Homme. There was loads of darkness this season, right? Loads of anarchy, loads of fighting the establishment, loads of post-apocalypto stuff. None more dark, none more so menacing than this collection by Rei Kawakubo at Comme des Garçons Homme Plus. Usually it's the more avant-garde of the approach of the Comme des Garçons lineage for the most part. See these shirt, you know exactly what you're gonna get, but Comme des Garçons Plus is always a little bit more. Men's not so much, you know, than women's. The women's is probably a little bit more crazy, but the men's still has pieces in it that I always want, and I love this. Reminds me of an early collection, maybe 2006, where they had the shirts with weird cutout skulls and the hair was slicked back. That kind of reminded me a little bit of this, but this is completely black for the most part. Collection, very menacing. There was a really weird band playing as well, a lot of screamo stuff playing in the back that are really underground. Loads of bondage, loads of belts everywhere, loads of crazy makeup. This model looks incredible. He's got a massive dyed green arrow on the top of it, mohawk on top of his head, massive piercing, eyeshadow, looked great. And look at the bottom here, we have these Jordans. I think they're Jordan collaboration with belts and buckles all over it, which look fucking cool. I'm sure they're going to be all over the blogs when they get a clear picture of them coming up. But again, I was a big fan of it. I thought the looks look incredible. Loads of great dresses and loads of great little kind of details here, like this sort of like cross on the earring on the side looks great. I think that's going to be really popular coming up. Again, the Jordans, you got like a little bit of a better look at these Jordans here at the bottom, collaboration with a belt, again similar to what we saw earlier with Vetements. The fishnet tights are great, something I'd easily wear if I went to fucking Berghain for the weekend. It's like a great fucking look. Mesh shirt, great jackets, great makeup again. Great little bondage belt stuff, details all over the place. Again, for me, one of my favorite collections. I think just for the details, for the raver that exists inside of me now. One of my favorites. I really like this, actually, this haircut with the green mohawk as an arrow on the top. It looks fucking nuts. I fucking love it. Massive earrings, hoop earrings. I've seen a lot of that this season. Right on trend with what's happening in the last few, which I've seen on the streets per se. So I'm interested to see if I'm going to get a pair of those rather sooner rather than later. Nice big chunky hoop earrings. It's weird how strong they look, especially when you have them when you're wearing a whole leather outfit. It can look really queer if you want it to, like depending how you style it, and it can look really butch and macho too, which is what I like about the earrings. So you can kind of, you know, flirt in that kind of line in between, which is always quite nice when you're going out and stuff. So this looks really cool. I like that. Comme des Garçons Home Plus for winter collection 2019 was for me one of my favorites too this season. Blah 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 blah. Let's take that off and go for my next one. What else did I like here? Issey Miyake was great, I thought, for the most part. And you know what? Let's do two. Let's do one more. Should I do one more or do two more? Let's do two more. Issey Miyake. You kind of, as a review says, Issey Miyake, you kind of know what you're gonna get. Issey Miyake, right? Nice, sophisticated looks, really great materials, great patterns, and just it's kind of like a really great go-to. It's like a one-stop shop wardrobe. If you kind of lost your luggage and you needed an entire new wardrobe, when you went somewhere, new location, you happen to pass by an Issey Miyake store, you're probably the best place to go, right? You could easily have an outfit that you can take to the match, you could take to dinner, you could take to a club. Like really cool pieces overall. And I'm really liking what they're doing with the casting, actually, because it seems like in the last few years, you know, there's been a real upsurge, a real kind of interest in Issey Miyake from kids all over the world, kind of taking some of their pleated trousers, some of their suiting, some of their shirts, some of the accessories. And I think Issey Miyake have kind of realized that and immediately acted upon it. Most of their lookbooks, most of their kind of runway shows are full of casting models from all over the globe, right? Loads of black models, loads of white models, Asian models, which has been fucking cool to see that reaction, that kind of change from their last couple of seasons that they had before. Which again, it's not really important to me for the most part. I'm not necessarily looking at runways for racial representation, but it's quite nice to see them just reacting and saying, oh, cool, all these kids like what we're doing, let's get them on the runway. Do you know what I mean? And you can kind of see yourself in the outfits that are there. I really like these sort of weird like tiger stripe details on their suits. Kind of African inspired it might look like, I think, for the most part. I'm not too sure. I like loads of nice details on the jackets and the suit, those nice bags. The color palettes are always really cool. I love the styling. Again, stuff that you could easily do in your own wardrobe with other little pieces, maybe from Uniqlo, you can kind of replace and put in there. But some of the pieces are absolutely unique. Like these trainers look amazing. Sort of like plimsolls are pink, look like slip-on plimsolls. Nice bag there. This cobalt blue, I think they do the best cobalt blue. I think Issey Miyake, really good cobalt blue. It's fucking gorgeous color. That and probably CDG's shirt are really nice at doing that. And maybe Jill Sander too. They have got that particular blue that's always kind of, you know, you always see dotted around seasons, season in, season out. Looks amazing. Again, nice details on the trousers. Ribbed edges on the side, those nice jackets. Again, amazing overcoat. Like just, you know, really subtly beautiful pieces that you could easily, again, incorporate into your wardrobe. I think for most men, this will look great on most guys, regardless of what you're interested in fashion wise. Like these so cozy jacket, trousers and pants, and I'd basically wear the entire collection easily, without a shadow of a doubt. These amazing brush strokes. I don't know what the artist was that did this. I remember, I think I went to the exhibition actually. These kind of like swirly patterns on the outside look fucking great, really fucking good. Again, I wouldn't be surprised, right, if we see the Issey Miyake collaboration with Uniqlo very soon. You know, they're doing most collaborations with designers nowadays. I wouldn't be surprised. I think they're looking great. I think that'll do really well if they decide to do that overall. But again, a big fan of Issey Miyake. And then last but not least, there's this brand I've kind of only found out about the last couple of seasons called Sanquanza, I'm not sure you pronounce it. It's supposed to be a Chinese-based brand or from a Chinese designer. And it's very interesting because they've been able to kind of, again, maybe it's not intentionally, maybe they didn't intend to do this, but it looks similar to Vetements, similar to maybe Balenciaga. So you got a similar kind of like post-apocalyptic kind of vibe and flavor. Loads of kind of futuristic kind of, you know, shapes and materials and that kind of malarkey. Loads of stuff like kind of maybe in Matrix inspired, but this looks like a more ravey inspired outfit. Or outfits for the most part, something that I've kind of been thinking a lot about since, you know, I kind of go to a lot of club nights, and you kind of go and you kind of maybe see the quintessential rave kids, and you know, it's the same sort of things that everyone's sort of wearing, you know, bondage and harnesses and all that sort of stuff, but you know, there must be something else that might be out there for a guy that doesn't want to wear bondage or harnesses, right? And this stuff looks really, really cool, really interesting. Maybe a little, again, maybe a bit derivative, maybe a bit copycatty in terms of the stuff that Balenciaga and Vetements have done, but I still think it's quite interesting to kind of comment on and look at overall. I quite liked a lot of the styling bits and pieces, like some of these little nice little tight knit tops. Supposedly these bags are these bags that clipped onto the side of the belt are entirely waterproof and made in collaboration with Herschel Supply. They don't look like it, but they are, which is great. Loads of leather trousers I think we've seen this season, which is great to see. Nice little overcoat leather jacket. These claws that remind you of like Edward Scissorhands look really, really nice. I've quite like the look of those there. You see that? They look really nice. Right? These, I'm not sure if that's jewelry piece they're going to be selling on them in store. Just like a runway collection. Again, nice leather looks. These tight knit tops will look amazing in the club. Again, Herschel Supply collaboration there. Nice boots. Again, it maybe is a bit copycatty. Maybe it looks a little bit too similar to the stuff that Vetements, Balenciaga have done. You might want to get that look from somewhere else. But I think for rave-inspired looks, for the guy or girl that wants to go to a rave and doesn't want to wear bondage or harnesses and stuff or gags and whatever, this is quite a good substitute overall. Again, nice little style idea. Something that you might get similar to a Vetements collaboration, right? For the most part. So maybe a bit derivative. But I quite like the look of it, and I thought I'd highlight it, because it's my fucking podcast. I can do what I want, all right? But yeah, I liked Sanquans. I don't know how you pronounce that. This look with a leather jacket really like as well. My leather jacket looked fucking cool, and this model there too as well looked amazing. These zip jackets, these Chelsea boots, look with the fucking metal toe in the front. This looked really nice. Loads of nice details here in this collection overall. Recommend you check that out. Anyway, that's an hour, isn't it? Right, it's zipped by there. It's been a bit of a slow news week, so I've got some other stuff I want to catch up on actually, but you know, work calls and all that malarkey. So we're gonna leave it there for now. So this has been the Agostinho Zinga Show, episode number 149. Thanks so much for tuning in as per usual. It's been a pleasure to have your company and all that malarkey. As per usual, if you want to check out stuff regarding moi and all my DJ dates, click the link below, agostinhozinga.com. DJ gigs still there. Off the top of my head, I'm gonna be back in Dalston on Friday at the Free Compasses. The Free Compasses in Dalston from 9 till 12:30. So if you're in the area and want to hear me play, come down. Let's have a boogie. And then I think that's it for February, and then maybe I think the next Friday I'm back again at Free Compasses again for back-to-back nights. So that should be good for a night called Bump. You can check the link below to see details of it. But apart from that, it's been great talking, innit? Right? 149, episode number 149, Agostinho Zinga Show. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Thanks so much for giving me the pleasure of your ears. Peace.